alewives in a single season. Those alewives were not just fish. They were the beating heart of an entire ecosystem that stretched from the mountains of Maine all the way out into the open ocean. Out at sea, they fed cod, striped bass, and bluefish. Along the riverbanks, they fed eagles, otters, and herons. In Maine, biologists sometimes call the alewife the Purina chow of the sea because almost everything in the water and along the shore depends on it to survive. A river thick with alewives is a river where everything else thrives. For thousands of years, that was exactly what the Kennebec was. That world was about to be walled off, not over decades, over a single building season. The fight started before the first stone was laid. In February of 1834, the people of the Kennebec Valley went to war over a proposal to dam their river. Petitions flooded into the state legislature. Some of them warned, in language that sounds almost prophetic now, that the project would bring the business of the whole county into bondage. What they were arguing about was, at the time, the largest dam project ever conceived in the United States. The people who wanted to build it won. In 1837, the Kennebec Dam Company finished its barrier across the river at Augusta, just below the head of tide, and roughly 40 miles upstream from the Atlantic Ocean. It rose 24 feet high and ran more than 900 feet across, a wall of timber and concrete cutting the river in two. The purpose was straightforward. Power the mills, ease the passage of boats, and convert a wild, seasonal river into a steady industrial engine. The builders did include a fish ladder, a token gesture toward the salmon and shad that had used these waters since long before any European set foot in Maine. On paper, the fish would still get through. In reality, that promise lasted less than a single year. In the spring of 1838, a flood ripped the fish ladder away, and the owners made a decision that would define the river for the next century and a half. They refused to rebuild it. Just like that, the door slammed shut on nearly a dozen migratory fish species that had been climbing this river since the last ice age. 17 miles of rapids, riffles, and spawning gravel fell silent and still behind the wall, drowned under a flat, lifeless pond. But here is the detail that almost everyone missed at the time. The dam itself was never as permanent as it looked. It breached in a flood in 1839. It breached again in 1846. It breached a third time in 1855. Each time, instead of letting the river reclaim itself, the owners patched the wall and rebuilt. The Kennebec kept trying to tear the thing down, and people kept putting it back up. What grew behind that wall was not a lake. It was a wound. The water above Augusta turned warm, sluggish, and foul, a holding tank for mill waste and raw sewage pouring in from the towns along the banks. The stench became so overpowering that workers inside the main state house, which sat near the river, kept their windows shut through the hottest weeks of summer just to keep the smell out of the building. The state would eventually spend $100 million between 1972 and 1990 to clean the water up to modern standards. The river was being treated like a problem to be managed, not a system that wanted to come back to life. And then, slowly, the entire reason for the dam's existence evaporated. The very thing the Edwards Dam was built to do had quietly stopped mattering. By the middle of the 1990s, the dam was generating only 3.5 megawatts of electricity. That figure sounds respectable until you hold it up against the state it was supposed to serve. 3.5 megawatts.
Looking for adults 45 and under to be in our HPV vaccination ad. Sound like you?
Not me. In a relationship.
If you're sexually active and unvaccinated, it could still be you.
I'm too old.
If you're under 45, you're not. For most people, HPV clears on its own, but for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers.
Wow. Garda?
0.5 megawatts came out to 0.1% of Maine's entire power supply. 0.1%. A structure that had strangled an entire river for over a century, killed 17 miles of habitat, and shut out a dozen species of fish, was now keeping the rough equivalent of a few neighborhoods lit. That is the kind of math that makes accountants wince. There was also a new rule in play. In 1986, federal law had changed to require FERC, the agency that licenses hydropower dams, to weigh the environmental damage a dam causes against the value of the electricity it produces. For the first time, the harm a dam did to a river was no longer invisible on the ledger. It counted, and when you put 3.5 megawatts on one side of the scale and a dead river on the other, the balance was not close. There had already been one clear chance to fix all of this, and it had been wasted. In 1976, the Edwards Dam breached yet again in a flood. Two members of the Natural Resources Council of Maine saw their opening and called for the dam to simply be left broken. "Tear it out," they said. "Let the river run free." It was the right call, more than 20 years early. You would think someone with the power to act might have listened. Nobody did. The wall was rebuilt, the pond returned, and the Kennebec waited another 23 years for its chance. That repeated failure, a dam that kept collapsing and kept being saved, was a warning sign written in floodwater. The river had been telling everyone for 140 years that the wall did not belong there. When the push to remove the dam finally gained momentum, it ran straight into a wall of doubt that had nothing to do with engineering. The most powerful argument against tearing the dam out was not about cost or floods or property values. It was 4 simple words: it won't even work. The salmon, people said, have been gone from this river for 100 years. The shad are gone. The sturgeon are a memory. What on earth makes you think they will ever come back? It was a fair question, and it terrified the people pushing for removal, because they could not prove it. No one had ever taken down a dam this large on a river this dead, and watched what happened next.
That would be awful.
They were asking an entire state to bet 17 miles of river and millions of dollars on a hunch that nature, given the chance, would heal itself. The only way to prove that fish really do come back was to do it. So they tried to load the dice. In the years before the dam even came down, fisheries crews had been quietly seeding the river for a comeback. Between 1987 and 1999, the state trucked in and released nearly 644,000 adult alewives and more than 8 million American shad fry into the spawning grounds above the dam. They were building a population in waiting, a coiled spring of fish ready to explode upstream the instant the barrier disappeared. All they needed now was for someone to pull the wall away. The real battle did not happen on the riverbank. It happened in hearing rooms and legal filings, far from the water that was at stake. The dam's owners and the broader hydropower industry pushed back with everything they had. They argued that FERC had no authority, legal or moral, to force a private dam to come down. They warned that removal would erode the riverbanks, trigger downstream floods, and crater property values for everyone living along the shore. Removal, they insisted, was reckless and far too expensive. Then, in November of 1997, FERC did something it had never done before in its history. It refused to renew the dam's operating license, and it ordered the structure removed. The agency laid out a stark choice for the owners: take the dam down or spend nearly $9 million to build a working fish ladder, plus another $1 million to start repairing the damage the dam had done. For a structure producing 1/10 of 1% of the state's power, the numbers made the decision on their own. One more piece closed the deal. The shipbuilder Bath Iron Works agreed to pay $2.5 million toward the removal in exchange for permission to fill some wetlands downstream that it needed for its own expansion. It was a compromise, money from industry funding the rebirth of a river. In January of 1999, ownership of the Edwards Dam was transferred to the state of Maine for one reason and one reason only: to take it apart. After 162 years, the countdown had finally begun. There is a reason this moment is still talked about more than 2 decades later. On that July morning, with more than 1,000 people lining both banks and a church bell ringing across the water, the backhoe bit into the retaining wall and the Kennebec surged through the gap. The crowd erupted, and in a moment that felt almost scripted, the short-nosed sturgeon, sensing the sudden change in the current, hurled themselves out of the water as the river came roaring back to life. People who were there describe it as a kind of celebration the river was throwing for itself. Standing on the bank that day was Bruce Babbitt, the United States Interior Secretary, alongside Maine's Governor Angus King. King said the goal was for the Kennebec to reclaim its place as both an economic asset and an ecological miracle. Babbitt predicted the removal would mark the beginning of an entirely new chapter in how America cared for its rivers. He had no idea just how completely the river was about to prove him right. If documented comebacks like this are why you are here, take 1 second right now and subscribe. The American Wild brings you the real, verified recoveries of this continent's rivers, forests, and wildlife every single week. Now, back to the Kennebec. So the dam was gone, and 17 miles of river ran free for the first time since before the Civil War. But what the river did next made the demolition itself look like the smallest part of the story. The recovery did not take a decade. It did not wait for a new generation. It began almost the instant the water broke through. With the wall gone, fish suddenly had open access to 18 more miles of habitat, all the way upstream to where the Sebasticook River
next time, call me, whatever, you know, hey, I need a watermelon. Okay, call me. You're the watermelon man. Yeah. Pero es okay, pero next time, no ande robando. Háblame. Next time, call me, whatever, you know, hey, I need a watermelon. Okay, call me.
You're the watermelon man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know it was him. I said
I know, but did you? So
I walked to the middle of the field.
So you just grabbed a watermelon and walked out. You stole a watermelon. You're a watermelon thief. I have apprehended a watermelon thief.
I'm trying to pay for the watermelon.
You're trying to pay for the watermelon now.
No, but like I said, I talked to his worker.
No. You talk to me. I have a sign, property privado. No passing, no trespassing. I have a sign here. You know?
Jesus.
Okay, so next time.
You okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay, because if you
What
want,
the hell steals some watermelon?
Next time, call me.
okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. That guy's real nice.
Like I said, I talked to his worker.
Well, that's like going into the middle of a Walmart and asking someone that works for Walmart, hey, can I take these pants? They don't belong to him. They're just a worker, right? You can't ask a Walmart worker if you could just steal a pair of pants. It's still theft, right? Okay, see registration paperwork, current proof of insurance. I am Frank. Apparently today I'm Frank the watermelon thief catcher. I don't know. That guy says different. That guy was pretty mad.
Superior flavor doesn't just happen. It's crafted. It's why we venture
It's
to
the
the furthest
Kennebec.
parts of the planet.
Atlantic
to
sturgeon
bring
began moving past the old dam site within weeks. Alewives and shad pressed in right behind them, swimming routes their ancestors had been locked out of since the 1830s. The skeptics had asked whether the fish would ever return. The fish answered before the dust had even settled. They had been waiting at the base of that wall, generation after generation,
think
for
it was
someone to
80s.
finally open the door. Researchers who have watched these removals describe it with something close to disbelief. Once a river is handed back its free-flowing state, the recovery can begin in moments, not months. Fish that have no living memory of the open
That was the flood of 1987. Do you remember when they did that, though? How much better it was? Yeah, and before that, Yeah, some people they were running their sewage down into the water. Yeah, right down here where they took the dam out. Yeah. You can't imagine it being like that. Wasn't that long ago. Yeah, you couldn't really go swimming or fishing in it because of the sewage running into it, and you could smell it. Can you imagine if they had never done that, how bad it would be? Oh my gosh, this place would be probably a totally different habitat and color. Widespread flooding struck western and south central Maine in early mid 1987, largely driven by back-to-back storms hitting a frozen, snow-packed watershed. They get pictures right there, downtown Augusta. Yeah, remember that? That was when Mom worked at Farrell's. Yeah, all the basements were flooded. Environmental groups and state agencies began pushing for systematic changes to river management and fisheries restoration. Historic government decision to deny relicensing of the Edwards Dam. July 1st, 1999, the Edwards Dam was initially breached, restoring the free flow of the Kennebec River. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. No, nobody died in those floods. However, in 1987, a Texas flood killed 10 teenagers. I was trying to read the story on that. Oh, looks like there's a video you can watch on it. ABC News. And around Comfort, Texas.
Air Jordan 1's going for this.
Yeah, Comfort, the name of the town, Comfort, Texas. Spelled like comfort, COMFORT. Mm-hmm.
Good evening. It's well known in the Texas Hill Country that flash flooding can be extremely dangerous. Today that danger was underscored when the raging waters of the Guadalupe River near San Antonio engulfed a bus and a van and swept the passengers downstream. More than 40 people were involved, including many children on the bus returning from a Baptist summer camp. At least 2 people are known dead, 8 others are missing, after a day of frantic rescue attempts. ABC's Charles Murphy reports.
All morning long, rescue helicopters plucked survivors from trees. Several persons were saved this way. Aerial rescue was the only way at first to get them out because the Guadalupe was on a rampage. Muddy and dangerous. One by one, some 30 people, most of them children, got out of the river. Several of those rescued were seriously hurt.
She needs to go on the stretcher. She's got some leg injury and maybe her back. All right.
The rescues themselves were risky, with many close calls. A fatality occurred when a chopper tried to lift out a 16-year-old girl. It went up too high and she let go. CPR failed to revive her.
She was hanging onto a tree limb. We were trying to get her out of there, and she was too weak. She couldn't hold the rope.
The victims were summer campers. They were trying to drive over a low-water crossing when one of two vehicles stalled. The vehicle started filling with water.
I'm scared.
What did the bus driver say?
The bus told us to get out because the van that was behind us was starting to fill up with water.
So they held hands and tried to wade out, but the strong current swept some of them away. The Guadalupe's headwaters were hit by up to 9 inches of rain during the night. Parents and relatives gathered at a Baptist church in Seagoville, Texas, near Dallas, waiting for news and hoping. As helicopters continued to search the river late today, they found one more body this afternoon.
There is an outside chance there could still be children in this river alive, clinging to trees or debris, but in all likelihood, they would have been found by now. Charles Murphy, ABC News, on the Guadalupe River near Comfort, Texas.
Water above, simply read the current and go. And the timing of what came next was almost too perfect. Within a single year, observers spotted seals 40 miles
Lucky last question of the night.
Chasing schools.
And that viewer is going to be none other than LM Rail, who said, any idea why the U.S. signed a deal requiring Israel to do something without actually making sure that they would do it? Pure desperation is what I had amounted to. The Iranians were demanding that there would be a ceasefire in Lebanon, and so if the U.S. ever made a memorandum of understanding and signed that as a clause, as a part of it, then that was largely to try and meet the Iranian demands, even knowing that the U.S. has no legitimate enforcement power to force another sovereign state outside of their control to do anything, no matter what kind of soft power or influence they have on them. So to summarize and in short, I think it was pure desperation to try and open the Strait of Hormuz, that they basically just agreed to any and all Iranian terms at that point, because the MOU is quite literally everything that Iran wanted and nothing that we wanted. So I hope that does address that the best I can, and with that, folks, we have reached the end of tonight's stream. I've got to thank you all so much once again for watching. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to keep this stream running for each and every single one of y'all tonight. Both Matthew and me find a great deal of pride and pleasure in making sure that y'all get the news each and every single day, and I hope that today we've been able to provide y'all with a good deal of high quality news, hopefully a couple of laughs, a good analysis of what's going to be coming around the corner, and also a little bit of hope for tomorrow, maybe. And so with that, we will see you all tomorrow for the Sunday night fundraiser at 10 p.m. Eastern Time to cover the next 24 hours of the news from around the world, and to also support a non-profit supporting one of the areas of the world that we cover. And so with that, we will see you all then. And if there is a short video, Enforcer Matt will be the one making it. And so with that, good night, good luck, take care, stay safe. Slava Ukraini, Haram Slava, long live the Spring Army, and long live the Republic. And we will see you all tomorrow, folks. And a huge shout out to the almost 150,000 people that were here by the end of the stream. A whopping amount of people. And we hope to see you all once again tomorrow on Sunday night. And usually, it seems like these days, Sunday is the day that stuff goes down. That seems to be the way it goes. So we'll have to see if maybe something happens tomorrow. It's hard to tell these days. But if there is something happening, I will try to make a short video if there is enough news midday. But we'll definitely see you at 10 p.m. Eastern for the fundraiser stream, of course, tomorrow. And we hope to see you then as well. But with that, of course, Slava Ukraine, Hiram Slava, get some rest and good night.
The smoke for miles around.
We have team coverage tonight. KTLA's Jillian Smuckler is standing by with conditions on the ground in Boyle Heights. But first, we go to Chris Wolf in City Terrace with the impact of the fire on your health. Chris, what's the latest?
A lot of impacts.
Is that a different one?
Rick, the LA County Particle Pollution Advisory has just been extended at least.
Is that a different one than the other one from yesterday?
For warm homes and hot meals, you need energy that handles it all. Natural gas delivers versatile energy that keeps Maine moving.
How dare I say
Summit Natural Gas. Comfort
You
delivered.
don't hear me say that too often, huh?
This is where Mayor
Yes, I need to get the 40.
This looks like a different one. Entire Ohio Family Security District.
I think my brother was dead. Okay, what's the address? Give me his second. 4077. So bad. 4077. 4077.
This is on
okay, 4077. Union Hill, correct? Yes, 47 Union Hill, very well. Man, gotta come on, what's going on? There's blood all over the house. Okay. My brother holds his bedroom and I beat the hell out of him. Okay. There's blood all over the house. Man, can you tell me what county that's in? Is it White County? It's White County? Yes, and they got him in the bedroom. Okay, I need you to get out of the house. 911. There's Pike County, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah.
911, can I help you?
Yeah, I need a deputy to come out to close to 799 West 4th.
Okay.
All this stuff that's on the news. I just found my cousin with a gunshot wound.
Okay. Sir, is he alive?
No.
Okay. You're at 799 West 4th?
It's close to 799. I don't know what his address is. You don't have a box.
You don't have a box. Okay.
I'll be standing out by the red waiting on it.
It's just absolutely heartbreaking for these families, as you can imagine. We're going to continue to follow this story throughout the evening and bring you the new information as soon as we get it. For now, reporting live in Piketon, Anjanette, Levy, Local 12 News.
It's early in the morning on April 22nd, 2016. After receiving reports of suspicious activity, police are called to Union Hill Road in Piketon, Ohio. What they find is horrific. The Roden family, known locally as hardworking, tight-knit, and private, are discovered slaughtered in a series of execution-style killings. The brutality is staggering. 8 members of the same family, spread across 4 homes, have been shot multiple times, some while they were sleeping, one even being shot once in the eye.
I'd like to say that I'm the mother of Christopher Sr. and the mother of Kenneth. And I'd just like to say from my mother's heart that I hurt so bad inside from the day that I found out. And I'd like to say if there's someone out there that knows anything about what happened, would they please come forward and tell what happened.
The victims include Christopher Roden Sr., his ex-wife Dana Roden, and their children, Frankie, Hannah Mae, and Chris Jr. Also killed are Frankie Roden's fiancée, Hannah Hazel Gilly, and Kenneth Roden, Christopher Sr.'s brother, along with their cousin, Gary Roden. 40-year-old Christopher Roden Sr. was the backbone of the family. Known as Big Chris, he was hardworking and resilient. He was a father who loved his children and wanted a better life for them. 37-year-old Dana Roden was the mother of 3 of the victims, Frankie, Hannah Mae, and Chris Jr. Dana was known for her caring nature and her love of family. 20-year-old Frankie Roden was a father and a devoted partner. His life revolved around his family and fiancée, Hannah Hazel Gilly, whose life was also tragically taken that night. 20-year-old Hannah Gilly was described as a loving mother and a true friend. She had dreams of raising her children alongside Frankie, building a life filled with love and laughter. 19
And move your plants outdoors with peat pots that biodegrade in the soil. Our selection of seeds includes your favorite brands. Nurture that garden with products including Coast of Maine, made with the finest local ingredients. At your local Paris Farmers Union.
You know, Wi-Fi 7 sounds pretty technical, but it isn't.
It appears to be dead. We begin with a decades-old cold case. Decades-old case.
The decades-old case, many know it as the Giaga child case. A baby boy less than 6 months old
found dead and dismembered on a country road in Thompson Township.
Interviewing witnesses, looking for suspects, all the traditional methods had failed.
Police say DNA technology is what helped them.
We were able to get it down to a grandchild of one of 10 siblings.
Essentially, we're going to pose as the baby and look for our relatives.
Yes, sir. Hello, are you Harvey? Yes, I am. Did you repeat me? My hair in the back of my neck stood up, and we finally found what we were looking for.
Level, everything moves exactly the way it's supposed to.
Today we announced that the case has been solved.
A large focus whether or not this baby was born alive or if this baby was a stillbirth.
The mothers couldn't comprehend a mother doing this to their child.
There is an indication that it breathed on its own.
Was this a live birth? In my opinion, you cannot make that determination.
Under those circumstances, your verdict can only be not guilty.
A large focus whether or not this baby was born alive or if this baby was a stillbirth.
The mothers couldn't comprehend a mother doing this to their child.
There is an indication that it breathed on its own.
Was this a live birth? In my opinion, you cannot make that determination.
Under those circumstances, your verdict can only be not guilty.
This is what he's going to tell you.
Get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Probably not the first place to put a body. No, sir. The only thing.
They were delivering newspapers. They drove by what two women were out in Thompson Township, and they were delivering newspapers. They drove by what they first thought was a baby doll in the road.
After they turned around and came back down the road, they thought it just looked different, and it wasn't a doll. It was a baby.
Well, when I got there, it was obvious that this is a newborn baby that was laying in the middle of the road. It looked like there was a tire track over it, like somebody had driven down the road and actually ran it over.
The case was assigned to Geauga County Sheriff's Office Homicide Detective Tom Duke.
It's such a horrific crime that somebody, a mother of a human being, could take and discard somebody like that.
While investigators wait for autopsy results, they search the grounds around the area where the baby was found, looking for clues.
Any clothing, body parts, any kind of evidence that may have been left inadvertently at the scene by whoever left the baby here.
What we found out through the course of the investigation, it was actually left in a wooded area in a trash bag, and animals had discovered the baby and brought it out into the roadway.
We have determined that the infant was a male. We have determined that the infant was Caucasian.
The community looked at this and said, you know, this poor child was abandoned by his own parents, possibly killed by his own parents. You know, someone needs to step in and speak on behalf of the child.
The first thing I thought, the baby was going to need a funeral.
Today's date is November 13th, 1993. This is Deputy McGrath. We are conducting surveillance of all vehicles and or people coming into the services for baby John Doe.
The investigators videotaped that funeral. They recorded.
Why are we at Target Drive at? Target Circle Deal Days ago.
And hopes that maybe a family member or one of the parents would come to the funeral, and maybe they could develop a lead that way.
One wondered if perhaps the unknown parents of the baby boy were at the service.
The Bible states in the book of Genesis,
about 150 people attended the non-denominational funeral service.
issue a citation for speeding while which the public actually issued the citation. So after watching this video, I decided to do a little more digging, and I emailed Judge Barnes' office directly. I showed them the footage and asked if they would like to make public statements about that, and to my surprise, the judge himself replied. And not only did he reply, but he gave me his personal cell phone number and requested that we have a call. So of course I took him up on that offer, and I tried to call him that day, and of course he didn't answer. I was pretty sure that he had come to his senses and decided not to make a public statement to some YouTube channels, but he surprised me again earlier this time and called me back later that night. I wasn't quite prepared for this phone call because of how early it was, so I didn't have my notes in front of me or anything like that, but I was pretty sure that this might be the only chance that I could actually speak to him, so I told him. And this is the conversation. road rage is just as equally as dangerous in another aspect of safety.
If
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Barnes seems to be under the impression that it's true that Miller's fault. That is the way I believe that it is. I swear these guys are just allergic to accountability. He seriously took the position that all of this ultimately happened because Trooper Miller failed to gain control over his traffic stop. But I'm pretty sure that there's a reason he's framing it this way. This is unconfirmed, but I have been told that Trooper Miller was actually the only one who faced any kind of disciplinary action for what happened that day, and he ended up being suspended for 4 days for not taking control of the traffic stop. Now, while I do believe that that is a legitimate criticism of Trooper Miller's conduct here, we can't just discount the fact that Judge Barnes and Captain Kelsey both identified themselves as county officials when they approached the vehicle. That undeniably throws a political wrench in the spokes of this stop and puts Trooper Miller in a lose-lose situation. Either he can allow the judge to threaten this guy,
A lot of people agree that Trooper should have stopped
go
it.
against the judge and potentially risk losing his job.
Some were a little surprised that the trooper kind of just walked away and didn't say anything. Right, has the driver of that vehicle getting pulled over for speeding infraction, right, you're getting come up on by regular clothes citizens. The driver didn't know that was a judge, an off-duty police officer, whatever that was. Said he was an off-duty or something. Right, I mean, he came up pretty angry, yelling, and said, I have a means to pull you out of there and whoop your ass, you know, whatever he said. He come up. It was almost so overdone that was it a show to see how the officer would respond to it.
So you think that the Trooper Miller should have gained control of you, and that would have been
I don't think so. Could be. I mean, I don't even. Sometimes they do those kind of setups to see how people will respond if they're going to do the right thing and not give people superiority.
Just call the police, alert the authorities, and you go on about your day. You know, you don't have law enforcement authority.
Let me ask you a question.
Right, because as a driver of that car, would you have been a little scared? You're standing there and the cop pulls you over for a speeding ticket, and then these two, they're big guys, yeah? No uniforms, wearing sweatshirt, whatever, jeans. Yelling at him, telling he's going to pull him out the car and whoop his ass. And then the officer just walks off back to his car. So yeah, a lot of people are kind of conflicted there.
I do feel bad because I don't usually do that.
Imagine standing in front of a judge.
They think you should have been reprimanded a little bit too.
What, have you never had a bad day?
Shouldn't have done
Having a shitty day
that.
is not an excuse for the way that Barnes behaved that day. How many times do you
So many are saying they were a little shocked when the officer got walked off back to his car, but even the officer himself was shocked. On the radio, he's like, I don't know why he's acting like that.
Let me put it to you this way. If I had done what you had done, I would have went to jail. You didn't go to jail.
Right, so imagine if that had been a really angry regular citizen, the officer just walks off. Right, granted. Do you think he would have acted differently if he hadn't known that was a judge?
And the legal analysis has been done, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Kentucky's menacing statute.
And maybe not have walked off and left the person in the car vulnerable to being pulled out of his car and having his ass whipped by these two big guys. Oh my goodness. Stop that.
This is a misdemeanor, and it can be cited, but contrary to
It's interesting one for sure. Yeah. Well, I don't know, I do agree though that he shouldn't have walked off. That had to have been scary for the driver of that car. Like, what the hell?
And here's the big kicker. Since the judge himself claimed that it was the trooper's failure to gain control of this traffic stop.
Right, well, I mean, it kind of ran. Then what if the driver has a gun and they get scared? These guys threaten him, pulls out.
Which clearly reads that anyone who, quote, impairs or
Volatile situation.
by using or threatening to use violence is violating the statute. Now, you gotta ask yourself, why wasn't Trooper Miller's suspension accompanied by appropriate charges for both Barnes and Gelso?
I did mess up.
mean, I wasn't.
And I'm trying to give you the respect to say, hey, this is what happened.
Yeah, I understand that, and this call is not intended to be a call of determining whether or not.
Does this let you go back and see the other ones?
Speak your side. I'm going to run the story either way.
Make sure you put my heart in.
Yeah, of course.
Because anybody that says they have not
Does
lost a
not.
temper is a liar.
I mean, you keep making this false equivalency of it. You are just some like average person, and you're not. You're a judge. You're an executive judge. I mean, you hold a public office. You're not an average citizen. All right, I got to jump in here and clarify something real quick. I've been referring to Barnes as a judge throughout this whole video. And while executive judge, judge executive is his official title, he's not a judge in the judicial sense. In Kentucky, a county judge executive is essentially just the CEO with a legacy title. It's not a courtroom judge, and it's not a police judge. The Kentucky Constitution basically treats this role as the fiscal manager of the county. The point here is that although Barnes does have some law enforcement experience, he's basically just the county's head pencil pusher. He has no law enforcement authority whatsoever.
And the thing about it, I have to admit that I did wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that I didn't do wrong. I feel bad if I did do something like that.
But what I'm saying is that the excuse that, everybody gets mad sometimes doesn't really work for someone in your position because you've been trusting by the public to do better than that.
YouTube videos and watch police pursuits and see how many, even I've got a Kentucky State Trooper that cussed the guy out. So does that make him wrong? He should have. That's okay for him, but it's not okay for me to do.
You're not a police officer, first of all.
I was.
But you're not now, right? You don't have law
I'm
enforcement authority,
sure. No, but sure no.
Okay, so that's different.
No, it's not. It's not different. Whatever. It doesn't matter what area that you're in, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a firefighter, whether you're a janitor, whatever. So it means everything's okay. Everybody else can do it except an elected official.
No, what I'm saying is if a police officer is engaged in a dangerous high-speed pursuit, which they have the authority to do, that would probably...
I had a deputy sheriff with me.
Was he on duty?
So does that make... Police officers don't leave you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
No, that's not true. Not every state.
Yes, sir, it is. Because thank you, sir. I appreciate you calling. I appreciate your interest, but you do what you need to do. And you have a good night. Thank you.
All right.
Zero is 5 times more attractive to flies.
President Brie Cheese. So rich. So creamy. No wonder it's the #1 brie in America. If it's excellent, it's president.
Jericho Federal Credit Union was born and raised here in Maine. And like Mainers, we're built on grit and a lot of gumption. We know your name, we know your story, because real community starts by knowing one another. Visit us today and experience the Jericho difference.
Babies don't stop, won't stop, can't stop for anything. And behind all those wild moves is an unstoppable Pampers 360 diaper. For an unbeatable fit that's up to 100% leak-proof. And now with new Easy Off tabs, changing to Pampers is easier than ever. Tabs off, wraps up, it's on. And they're off, because they're Pampers, behind every baby.
Pushing this a little bit. I mean, I didn't feel I was trying to be very accusatory. I was just, verifying the logic of what this guy was saying, and it just wasn't coming through. So he just went up on me, and that was the end of our talk. But that's not the end of the story. So I reached out to a few of the more prominent members in Powell County just to poke around and see if anyone had any information about Judge Barnes. And boy, did I open Pandora's box. I don't want to go too deep into this just yet because I'm still in the process of verifying a lot of the information that I'm being fed right now. And I will be doing a follow-up video on this investigation once I can pin down the details and verify it. But if you happen to be watching this video from Powell County and you're a Powell County resident who has something that they'd like to say about their county officials, then please send me an email at the email address on the screen now. Whether good or bad, I'd like to hear what the residents think of Judge Barnes as a whole and any other county officials that they'd like to point. Alright, so I don't have a lot of final thoughts on this one just yet because I'd like to consider this an investigation that is still ongoing. But I will say that I think it's totally fucked up that Trooper Miller was the only person to receive any kind of disciplinary action for for this whole thing. And yeah, there's an argument to be made that Trooper Miller deserved that punishment because Judge Barnes is actually right. Trooper Miller should have taken control of that traffic stop, and he should have arrested Judge Barnes and Deputy Kelso for one or all of the charges that I listed earlier. And I'm sure that's exactly what would have happened if the trooper hadn't felt that he was dealing with a perceived existential threat to his job with no clean way out. If a non-executive judge and a non-sheriff deputy had done exactly what these two did, then they would have been arrested right then and there. No questions asked. And then you have to ask yourself the question of whether a man who threatens to beat the shit out of a constituents that he represents is actually fit to run public office. And look, I get it. Everyone gets mad, especially at people who put other people's lives at risk. But if you're a guy who has decades of first responder experience, like Barnes claims to have, I'm sure one of the many disturbing things that you see throughout that tenure is the result of road rage. I mean, what if this guy had been a complete lunatic on a drug bender and he shot the judge in the face the moment he walked up to his car acting crazy like that? This is why literally every law enforcement agency in the country discourages road rage, and some states have even drafted laws specifically regarding road rage. And I find Judge Barnes' excuses to be completely without merit, and it's fucking ridiculous that Trooper Miller was the only one who was trying to do the right thing and the only one who got disciplined. I'm just gonna keep digging and see where this story goes. Like I said before, I'll be sure to give you an update in a future episode. Thank you for being here. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that update episode. That's all I have for you today. Cheers.
The cranberry mandarin ones, I think that's probably going to be going on the top 5 for sure. For the melty wax scents, the cranberry mandarin one smells good. So many of them I don't like. I have a hard time finding ones that I like. The berry, the frosted berry, the cranberry mandarin, those two.
Investing millions in medical breakthroughs and building Maine's economy. Senator Susan Collins.
Oh, my coward is
and supporting life-saving international aid.
What happens when you want more for your bank? Well, you go to your credit union. These are our savings. Our focus is serving you.
Hi, I'm Kareem Rahman. This is Pit Stop Tonight. On today's episode, things go way off track. My guest tonight was the winner of the Crown Jewel at the Brickyard 400 in 2025. Number 23 himself. Welcome to the show, Bubba Wallace.
How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you as well. Thought we'd have more cheers than that.
I thought we were going to have more cheers than that. I thought you were also going to be shorter.
So first of all, we have to stay here. This is from
No. I thought you were tiny because I've only seen like bobbleheads of you.
Basically characterize
and your
what
head
happened
is huge.
in your
Yeah, I
own
got a big
words,
head.
and I'll read this
No,
out
your
loud
head
for
is
people
normal
who may
now.
not be
No,
able
I
to
got a big
see
head.
this.
Do you
This
have?
is
I wear
how
like the
long
largest
some
size
people
hat.
cannot believe that
I got a big
I
head too. We look like twins.
perfectly in 2021, I was arrested in Clarksville, Arkansas.
Thanks.
Police officers report alleged I was fleeing and
if you can fit in the
construction
shirt.
biking video evidence, as well as the written report that there is
Take it how you want it.
we have the report available to look at after we watch the
Thank you
video.
very much.
Initial stop
If you weren't racing, what would you be doing?
the officer report seems to have
Not that again. All right, I'm just going to say,
charge of obstructing government operations was used after I refused to provide ID.
I think you got a great style. Oh, I want to know what you drive over. Tundra. Dirty, bro. Good car.
But here's the most powerful part of the story. Despite filing a lawsuit, I was unable to sue because I pled guilty to 2 of the 4 counts in a plea bargain. The case isn't just about a bad arrest. It is
Describe your racing style in 3 words.
Invalidate an officer's actions and provide them with a shield against the civil suit, even when their initial conduct was questionable. I've obtained a police report.
Okay, what about 3 separate words?
I filed a petition to seal his
Cautious,
for 4 years.
comma,
Aggressive,
comma,
I'm curious about, he's saying
silly.
that he pled to 2 of the charges, and that somehow negated his civil suit?
Sure. For instance, if McNeil, so in the McNeil case, McNeil pled guilty to driving on suspended license, which would have been discovered whether it's right, if the stop was lawful, right? He was still driving on suspended license. It wasn't anchored to the legality of the stop. And he pled guilty to resisting without violence, which again is not.
They're simply
What's an airborne roll-over pit maneuver? Yes, I knew.
Susan Collins co-sponsored the bill to protect military spouses' survivor benefits.
You don't need a speaker. Your phone's real volume is low. I'm about to show you a secret that the industry doesn't want you.
We are in the left lane. One, she's in the left lane. We're gonna back off. She's in the left lane. We're gonna catch the traffic.
A violent flying car on camera in Savannah, now under investigation. Chatham County Sheriff's Office says multiple suspects have already been identified. WJCL 22 News' Krista Vasilka has the details, but first we want to warn you this video may be difficult to watch. Shocking video of a fight in downtown Savannah appearing to show a group of people hitting and stomping on someone. WJCL got this video from the Chatham County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Richard Coleman says the fight happened near Ellis Square Wednesday night. He met with the victim Thursday and took him to the hospital.
We believe, we're not sure that he may have suffered a slight concussion.
Coleman says the victim told him the attack came out of nowhere.
The victim alluded that he was just coming out of a club walking downtown when he was struck.
The people seen in the video range from their late 20s to early 30s.
We have identified 3 individuals in the video that we're looking to further investigate and execute some warrants. We may be looking at some very, very, very serious charges here.
As for the motive,
we can't say it's for sure right now. I can't say for sure when we talk right now.
Sheriff Coleman says what happened here Wednesday night may be part of a larger pattern. He says investigators discovered another fight video at a different location in downtown Savannah.
The second video had surfaced of the same. A few of the same individuals may have been involved, so we're looking to that as well to kind of bring all this together.
Coleman says there's no gang activity in this case, and the investigation is far from over.
We're unhappy, Sheriff, right now. I'm going to bring justice to the situation.
By identifying everyone involved. Reporting in Chatham County, Krista Vasilka, WJCL 22 News.
exploring the outdoors or powering the job site, Harbor Freight has the port of
guided aerial bombs. According to regional governor Ivan Fedorov, Russia dropped 9 glide bombs on the city, killing at least 5 people and injuring 6 others. In a post on Telegram, Fedorov said the attack destroyed and damaged both residential and non-residential buildings, including critical civilian infrastructure and an equestrian sports club. The devastation spread across entire neighborhoods. Zaporizhia City Council Secretary Regina Harchenko reported that at least 19 multi-story residential buildings were damaged in the strike. The city of Zaporizhia, once home to more than 700,000 people before Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, remains one of Moscow's most frequent targets. Located just 40 to 50 kilometers from the front line, the city routinely comes under attack from drones, missiles, artillery, and aerial bombs. But it is the guided aerial bombs that have become one of the most feared weapons in Russia's arsenal. Launched from aircraft operating safely behind the front lines, the bombs can travel long distances before slamming into their targets with devastating force. Their heavy construction and high-speed descent make them extremely difficult, if not impossible, to intercept. Meanwhile, hundreds of kilometers away, another Russian strike rocked the outskirts of Kharkiv. Moscow says its forces hit a Ukrainian drone storage and production facility on the northwestern edge of the city. Video released after the attack showed thick black smoke billowing into the sky above the targeted site. Russia's defense ministry claimed a Su-34M multi-role fighter bomber carried out the strike, targeting warehouses storing unmanned aerial vehicles and components used in drone production. The ministry also said Russian forces struck Ukrainian military formations near the settlements of Staritsa, Okalyanoye, and Kozacha Loma in the Kharkiv region. As the attacks intensify, Ukraine said the aerial threat shows no.
Good morning. Yes, doing all right. We're reading a couple articles here. There's a lot of different questions in class. It seems like a lot of the questions in focus, the majority at the moment anyways. Why does it seem as though a lot of the ones going after or in agreement with kind of the going after non-vaxxers, Karens, seems to be in line with kind of the same activist groups. Yeah, we've talked about this over the years. So what they're asking is, why does it seem as though a lot of those groups, yeah, and many, it's almost like a show for some of them. Not a show, but kind of just peddling what they're being told. Well, they told me that's what they wanted me to do. They said, blow them up. This is what they're saying. This is what those people are ordering us to do. This is what they're saying. You see that a lot with different channels. Like, yeah, get the Karens. Yet you understand a lot of those people are working not really undercover. I mean, some are probably just citizens aware, kind of helping to hone in on those things. But yeah, over the years, it's a mixture. Yeah, so why does it seem as though a lot of the ones and the activists and the people peddling a lot of that, the same ones too were peddling kind of hate towards Kennedy? Yeah, remember a lot of those young teenagers getting the Karens and non-vaxxers and involved with a lot of other things. Immediately, oh, I don't like his voice, he ate a goat or whatever, a dog. Yeah, it's stupid. But right off the bat, you saw that boom right within those groups. So a lot of people have been honing in on these things and recognizing it and doing the best we can to just keep the discussion in the open, clarity, understanding. Remember, as dead mothers, we're trying to help the hostages. And we understand the connections with these activist groups, and the child and animal pornography being fed out and the abuse is absolutely horrible. Yeah, to even begin to go down that road a little bit can be difficult for a lot of people because so many have been targeted, been really, really in evil, horrible ways. And you think of the doctors and people too that have lost their licenses for simply trying to speak the truth, targeted. It's insane how so much of this is being ignored. They don't even seem to talk about it in those worlds, and they promote the dangerous things. It's really scary. So they're asking, why does it seem so much hate towards certain political figures, and they seem to not like Putin? Like, yeah, like say, yeah, he's a dickhead. Right, kind of like a lot of the same rhetoric within the same groups that were saying that stuff about Kennedy. Fearing the non-vaxxers, getting the Karens, bullies, helping with the cartel investigations. Yeah, and a lot of those, exactly, the criminals and people doing some of the worst things, that they got involved with a lot of the 7-Eleven stings. That was so stupid and scary. Yeah, I think Dan Bongino knows a lot about that. Right, so could they have any say in a lot of that stuff? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I think a lot of them are doing the best they can. Oh, it's just like neither Biden nor Trump or anybody that would have been president at the time could have stopped the vaccine mandates or school shutdowns. Our own president had no say in that. Nothing they could have done. No, I mean, I don't know. I would have speaking out more have helped. I don't know, it's interesting when you look at the history and Trump mentioning the vaccines back in 2013 and Bill Gates telling him that those people were going to destroy him, like they were destroying a lot of other people for years. In 2013, that was already a huge concern. So I'm not sure why people are playing stupid to it. A lot of people, not just doctors, patients that were doing well on natural path and holistic treatment plans. And of course, the people in the lower income ranges are going to be more vulnerable. When you look at what went on and how they were showing that people that were not vaccinating, right, the kids were developing better, not getting sick, hitting milestones early. And when you look at just my 4 children, My only child I did not vaccinate. Who just said, what? I'm going to be 17 this year, hard to believe. Oh, yeah, he's my only child. In 2009, I did not vaccinate. And he's the only one that didn't lose his speech. And what happened with my other 3 still has not been addressed. And how psychotic a lot of the nurses and people were acting. How they vaccinated my youngest 2 children behind my back in 2013. When you really look at the situation and what's going on and how horrifying it is for those children and hostages and people that are aware. Oh, you're screaming from a soundproof box. It's a wonderful nightmare. It's a series of very unfortunate events, but let it not be in vain. Did it all for the glory of love. It's like a knight in shining armor from a long time ago. Sorry. All right, so neither Donald Trump nor Biden had the legal authority to unilaterally order. What does this have to do with Putin? I know, you see a lot of people get it. You get it. See, they all get it. If you don't get it, just follow along. You might connect some dots here. We're reading some articles. Neither Donald Trump nor Joe Biden had the legal authority to unilaterally order schools to shut down or force them to operate nationwide. Under the U.S. Constitution, public health decisions and the management of the K-12 education are decentralized, placing the authority to open or close public schools squarely with the state governors and local school boards. A clearer look at how this authority worked during the pandemic highlights this division. State and local control. Decisions to enact school closures were made almost entirely by individual governors, state health departments, and local school districts. They exercised state-level police powers to mandate lockdowns for public safety. The federal role, and when you look at how many of them were so in fear of non-vaxxers, in 2010, they were freaking out. In 2009 and 10, when I didn't vaccinate him. And look at how good he developed. And he's my only child that didn't lose his speech. And get severe neurological damage. And the experts and doctors in 2006 warned them about that and why my system was predisposed to that. Years, just damage, bacterial overloads. Yeah, going back to a child, chronic Lyme disease. A lot of raw hot dogs and pixie sticks. Bad diet. I was an alcoholic by the time I was 15 years old and getting an OUI. Well, technically, legally, it wasn't written up as that, was it? Well, no, there was no meddling. There was no favoritism. What had happened was I was young, 15. Drinking a lot of vodka at a trailer park. Yeah, and for some reason a friend across town had called and really wanted me to bring them something. I can't ever remember. I know, for some reason, just think about it. So anyways, I'm on my way there, and I realized I was going up the Viggy Road out in Whitefield. I said, this is not good. I should not be driving a car. And I remember turning around in the Huffman's driveway. I remember this. I turned around in the Huffman's driveway, and I was heading back. And I was going over those hills, and I was fishtailing. But when I came around that corner, I hit the corner in the hill just right, and I flew for like 14 feet at 4 feet in the air, and I hit that pole. Put power out on the whole road. Anyways, someone stopped and gave me a ride back to the trailer park. So really the cops were never, they never saw me. Yeah, I can remember Dad had come and found me at the trailer park because they were looking for my body in the woods. They didn't know someone had picked me up. My car was crashed there. They thought maybe I flew through the driver's side window. I was pretty lucky because the telephone pole came right up through that Buick. It was a big Buick, my Meme's old car. And the telephone pole came right up to the window, to the windshield. They said if it had been over just a little bit, the engine would have been driven through the car and crushed me. I was very lucky. I was, 15, 16 at the time? Yep. Yeah, when they brought me back home, Dad found me at the trailer park. And I was in the bathroom and I fell over and I hit my head on the tub. And then Mom brought me to the hospital and we sat there for a while. And then I laughed because she had to give her real birthday and she always lied about her age. I think I made a scene about it. And then when we were waiting, I was like, do we have to be here? And the nurse was like, no, you don't have to be here if you don't want to be. It's like, let's go. And we left. That was it. I got written up for going too fast around a corner. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I should not have been drinking I should have been drinking at all, right? The hell? Mom said it was normal for out there. She was fine with it. She said it was normal for out there. A lot of people didn't agree with that. I remember some saying, no, that's not okay. I don't know why they would tell you that. No wonder. Probably another reason I was put on the programs when I was 18. I mean, there were already concerns. Yeah, between the child molesters and people trafficking drugs from the Middle East and stuff like that. I know when you hear their responses to some of these things, over the years it really begets people, I think, for real. Oh my gosh. It's perplexing. It's quite perplexing, I agree. Yeah, I mean, and when you look at some of the evil, maniacal things that some of our family members and siblings have been doing over the years and how that's opened the door, I mean, huge floodgates, really, for a lot of evil, and we could care less. Those motherfuckers can burn in hell for eternity, and they should with what they've done in some of our communities. And they think they're really cool. Cause I wanna be like Mike. I'm good, thanks. How are you? Yeah, we're just chilling. Well, you probably won't be able to see me too good because it's a little dark in here. Lifting some weights. Not really. It's good to have a nice, straight, strong core when you do that, you know? Feel the difference if you tilt. It's good to do it both ways, controlled. Yeah, we're doing these. We're trying to keep up. It seems like our muscles are depleting. They say that happens with age, so we're trying to keep up with it. How's it looking? I'm trying the best I can. We'll see how I do here. It's June 21st. I'm gonna try to get ahead of the game here a little bit. I don't know. I could die right now. I could literally drop dead right now. People have aneurysms and heart attacks all the time, you know? But yeah, we're just gonna continue reading some of these articles. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, we're just having a coffee. Cheers. You're welcome. Yeah, I really hope so. That's the goal, is to get the facts reported on as to what's been going on here and help the hostages. You're welcome. Yes, much love, health, and peace to you. Thank you. It's so nice to be able to see all of that and have that kind of communication all around the world. Very cool. Yeah, I know. In those classes, because growing up and throughout my adult life as well, people can get a little annoyed or frustrated or angry sometimes for some reason. Yeah, the way I talk. Say I talk too slow or too fast or like a baby. Right, so sometimes in those classes I have a tendency to speak a little more direct and sternly. Yeah, it's a lot different. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people too, all at different stages with different questions. And yeah, sometimes the improv and different characters are to help people in those classes. It helps us too. It's good chemical emotional regulation. Yeah, it's kind of like role playing, sure. Yeah, if you've done any of those kind of rehab or therapy sessions, then you recognize it. Some of them like to call it a mental illness. Yet they also think that eating less meat and dairy, okay, is a mental illness. Okay, yeah, I see you. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty scary actually. In 2017, they tried telling me I needed a vein surgery or I was going to die, which was total bullshit. And when I decided to do stretches and adjust my diet a little bit, as opposed to doing a surgery that would have put me in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, no thank you. Oh, and medications, yeah, no thank you. Yeah, I mean, if it got to the point where I really needed it, but I didn't. It was total bullshit. When you look back, you'll see that was 2017, and when you see other things that were going on, you'll understand how demented and scary it is for a lot of us. It doesn't mean we have to live in fear. A lot of things are scary. You don't have to fear them, right? Yeah. But yeah, for them it's a mental illness that we don't want to take their OCD drugs. It's a mental illness and we need help. And if we don't want to take the medications, we should be locked up and we're dangerous. Yeah, they're psychotic. That's a mental illness. Right, and it's so sad too, because a lot of these children and people such as myself that were suffering from years of bacterial overloads and neurological conditions really benefit from less gluten, wheat, and dairy. Yeah, well, meat and stuff takes 8 to 12 hours to digest, where the plant-based things take 2 to 4 hours, sometimes less. It's just a lot easier. Those intestines, it helps give the intestines a little bit of a break. They're so overloaded and compacted. And then when you add in all the vaccines they're getting, what is it, like 70 by the time they're how old? Right, and then when you look at the cancers that they are known to cause, very scary when you see the children's cancer clinics filling up and people think it's crazy and a mental illness, and they got these psychos going around making you think they're going to make you drink carrot juice and eat maggots. And the cancer is just going to grow all throughout your body if you don't listen and catch it early. Yeah, it's very sad and scary to a lot of us. Hear the birds? Bright light. Gizmo.
We all running in the same race. Ain't nobody winning. We only here for a minute. So everybody slow down. Your life is beautiful. Let's all take a moment now. Let's just try to breathe it in. Let's go get something.
So yeah, neither one of them could have stopped that. That was all governors and state board people, school board people, who were fearing non-vaxxers. And you know how scary that is for us? So when you're looking like, what the hell? Insane. Absolutely insane. They've made a lot of money, too, when you think about it. Hopefully the good forces that be. We like to think it is overpowering the evil, and when you really think about it, it might not seem that way sometimes in individual situations. And you have these cases and hostages where they usually don't get saved. They get tortured and abused till they die. I know, you would think it can't be possible. Somebody would do something about it, right? What do you want to do? Oh, you're going to go over there, bang the door down? Okay, now you're going to be arrested. Now what? Another crazy person. What is it? Oh yeah, they're all fucking the kids, okay. Do you know how long we've been doing this with different cases? We've seen so many innocent people get killed and locked up. Sick fucks. Dribble, dribble. Federal officials under both the Trump and Biden administrations could only issue guidance such as recommendations from the CDC or Department of Education. Local leaders were free to interpret or even ignore these guidelines. The federal government cannot override a governor's shelter-in-place order or directly mandate that a local school district open its doors. While the president could not directly force a school closure or mandate an opening, the federal government does yield significant influence. Through the use of funding and broad, consistent guidelines, the administration in power can pressure states to act, but they lack the legal power to overrule state and local officials on these operational matters. So why a lot of those groups seem to not like Putin? Good question. So anti-vaccine and anti-establishment activists, often associated with fringe political and QAnon-style movements, are divided on Russia leadership. While some view Putin as a hero fighting global elites, others strongly oppose him due to his authoritarianism, perceived hypocrisy regarding COVID-19, and the historical use of Russian operatives to sow doubt. Hypocrisy over COVID-19. Putin actively enforced aggressive public health measures and lockdowns in Russia during the pandemic and heavily promoted Russia's own state-developed vaccine, Sputnik V. Activists who fundamentally oppose all vaccine mandates and government control therefore view his leadership as hypocritical. Do you think Sputnik V was like one of those fake ones, like that Dr. Coinas, who knew it was fucked up, so he was injecting the babies with nothing? Smart doctor, I know. I guess he killed himself. Sad. Is there any regard at all, folks? Anyone? What the fuck, right? So yeah, I don't know, and I can imagine he had good reason. Like, yeah, it's a different time, space. Look at what's going on over there. Right, and then when you look at too here, it was confusing for a lot of people when the schools are shutting down. You're looking to the, presidents who are supposed to not let that happen, but they couldn't do anything. He's in court about taxes and grabbing a pussy. What? They're going hunting. What are you doing? What the fuck? You're all fucking nuts. You're all fucking nuts. Anybody? Stop the madness. In conspiracy circles, a common narrative blames billionaire philanthropist George Soros and pharmaceutical companies for creating or hiding the COVID vaccines because Russian state actors have been well documented stalking anti-Semitic tropes involving Soros to push their own geopolitical agendas. It causes friction with activists who have their own diabolical myths about the same figures. State-backed trolling. Research indicates that Russian cyber troll networks have historically amplified extreme views on both sides of the American vaccine debate to create social discord and chaos. Once the manipulation was publicized, many activists turned against Russian state interference. Conflicting loyalties to global powers. And it amazes me again, our media outlets don't even talk about the fucking vaccines and shit. They're so programmed and fucking bought. Oh man, it's fucking sick. Conflicting loyalties to global powers. While some right-wing and anti-establishment figures in the U.S. praise Putin as an anti-globalist, others strongly resent him for attempting to expand Russia's power globally and violating international sovereignty, which clashes with their own nationalistic views. Isn't it strange, too, that Tucker Carlson, who was part of Fox News for years and then laughed and said they're gaslighting you for a few years and then is on YouTube interviewing all these people, and didn't he go and see Putin? I know, I was like, what the fuck flop was that? You're sitting in front of Putin and just totally fucking blew it, dude. What the hell? Are you trying to fuck things up on purpose? Yeah, Americans are that stupid, I guess. And these are some of the best news people we got? No fucking wonder. No fucking wonder. No offense. What activist groups are his wife's part of? Yeah, anyways. Sick fucks, dude. People need to wake up. Ballless, pansy-ass motherfuckers. You know what you need to do. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I swore, didn't I? I said ballless. Son of a bitch. There goes my points for the day. Well, you know, one's loss is another's gain. And in my world, I'm the one losing and winning. I'm on both sides of the triple beam scale. I am the fucking scale. Don't you get it? I am almighty. Aladdin. Oh my dear powerful genie. Living space. It's quite cozy, thank you. Anyways, the deep state. Furthermore, some segments of the movement have embraced pro-Kremlin propaganda. Stop that. Furthermore, some segments of the movement have embraced pro-Kremlin propaganda, falsely claiming that Russia's actions in Ukraine were aimed at fighting the deep state. Light up the night. Go on, Illuminati. Illume a night. You're naughty. Yeah, I know, it's cute and it's fun. I think what bothers a lot of us is how a lot of those people seem to be playing some kind of game or ignoring reality and perpetuating a lot of the dangerous things. Propaganda, fear propaganda, playing into what, like we said, those same groups, their customer base is like, you know, the Catholics, the dumb fucking stupid Catholics and the goons and the chatty Cathys. Yeah, that's their fucking bread and butter, dude. The fucking idiots from the 60s and 70s doing the exorcisms and fear in the devil's grass. Anyone talking Latin is speaking devil's tongue. Wake the fuck up. Right, so those idiots, you know, Tammy Faye Baker clubs, evangelists, when you look at a lot of the church programs, how fucked up this shit is, and these druggies that have been making the fucking beating women in burqas and getting the funding for victims. I know, who beat you up? I don't know who it was. I went to a party, some guy, I don't know, said he was from Indiana. How many times we heard that story? Fucking sick. You sick, nasty motherfucking pieces of shit. Burn in hell. I'm so sorry. See, it just comes out. It just happens. You can call it a mental illness if you want. I call it a natural reaction to the fucking sick shit going on around us. Got a problem with that, motherfuckers? Okay. So, back the fuck up! Back the fuck up! Oh, they're backed up alright. Do you understand that their goal is just to carry this on? It becomes the show. And that's what they profit from. Yeah, I mean, they don't need to. They don't need to. As you can see, us and our children get targeted by all these other groups. That gets your attention in some way, right? Yeah, they have our children, our hostages. They've already been fucked and tortured for years. They've already banged. A lot of them have moved out of state. They've already banged, dude, and moved out of state. Want me to say it again? They've already banged, dude, and moved out of state. And these motherfuckers right around here with our children, those are hostages. Do you fucking understand me? Do you understand why those are hostages of Hamas, you sick fucks? People around here need to wake the fuck up and help those kids. And report the goddamn fucking facts, you nasty fucking pieces of shit. Oh, I had to get that out. Yeah, feel much better now, thank you. For real though, for real. Anybody have any suggestions? Because even the president couldn't stop that bullshit. So what do you think we've been dealing with when you have people that are aware and have been witnessing them mandate more dangerous shit and people dying as a result of their nasty fucking ignorance and greed? Anybody? Okay, my name's Mary. We're at the Governor Hill Mansion in Augusta, Maine. My youngest 2 children are in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles. These are facts. His name's Michael Scott Garand. He was born 6/22/1984. Isn't he a fucking genius, huh? All set up. Him and his sick fucking mother. They're both fucking sick people, dude. You go back and look at what's documented. 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. They were already, I'm telling you right now. When you take a look at the staking and the preying and the targeting and why certain people are more vulnerable and profitable to these sick fucks. A private investigator in 2009, Chris LaJoy, was trying to tell him. He shot himself, supposedly. And the same fucking sick motherfucking nasty fucks fucking with the funding and trafficking drugs, making child and animal pornography, and profiting from the abuse of our children were involved with a lot of that shit going on around that time. Yeah, and look at what they all fucking scattered, dude. None of them are here. They all fucking took off. They're nasty fucking people. Right, Mr. Jones? Huh? Boy, I'd be fucking finding those whistles if I were you. I'd really be finding those fucking whistles if I were you. I need a coffee and a joint. Can't find no balance in my life. Just a suggestion. What is so mean? It was way back in September.